The Runaway Jury by John Grisham. Chapter 1. The face of Nicholas Easter was slightly hidden by a display rack filled with slim cordless phones, and he was looking not directly at the hidden camera, but somewhere off to the left, perhaps at a customer, or perhaps at a counter where a group of kids hovered over the latest electronic games from Asia. Though taken from a distance of 40 yards by a man dodging rather heavy mall foot traffic, the photo was clear and revealed a nice face, clean-shaven with strong features and boyish good looks. Easter was 27. They knew that for a fact. No eyeglasses, no nose ring or weird haircut, nothing to indicate he was one of the usual computer nerds who worked in the store at $5 an hour. His questionnaire said he'd been there for 4 months, said also that he was a part-time student, though no record of enrollment had been found at any college within 300 miles. He was lying about this. They were certain. He had to be lying. Their intelligence was too good. If the kid was a student, they'd know where, for how long, what field of study, how good were the grades, or how bad. They'd know. He was a clerk in a computer hut in a mall, nothing more or less. Maybe he planned to enroll somewhere. Maybe he dropped out but still liked the notion of referring to himself as a part-time student. Maybe it made him feel better, gave him a sense of purpose, sounded good. But he was not, at this moment nor at any time in the recent past, a student of any sort. So, could he be trusted? This had been thrashed about the room twice already, each time they came to Easter's name on the master list and his face hit the screen. It was a harmless lie. They'd almost decided. He didn't smoke. The store had a strict non-smoking rule, but he'd been seen, not photographed, eating a taco in the food garden with a co-worker who smoked 2 cigarettes with her lemonade. Easter didn't seem to mind the smoke. At least he wasn't an anti-smoking zealot. The face in the photo was lean and tanned and smiling slightly with lips closed. The white shirt under the red store jacket had a buttonless collar and a tasteful striped tie. He appeared neat, in shape, and the man who took the photo actually spoke with Nicholas as he pretended to shop for an obsolete gadget, said he was articulate, helpful, knowledgeable, a nice young man. His name badge labeled Easter as a co-manager, but 2 others with the same title were spotted in the store at the same time. The day after the photo was taken, an attractive young female in jeans entered the store and while browsing near the software actually lit up a cigarette. Nicholas Easter just happened to be the nearest clerk or co-manager or whatever he was, and he politely approached the woman and asked her to stop smoking. She pretended to be frustrated by this, even insulted, and tried to provoke him. He maintained his tactful manner, explained to her that the store had a strict no-smoking policy. She was welcome to smoke elsewhere. "Does smoking bother you?" she had asked, taking a puff. "Not really," he had answered, "but it bothers the man who owns this store." He then asked her once again to stop. She really wanted to purchase a new digital radio, she explained, so would it be possible for him to fetch an ashtray? Nicholas pulled an empty soft drink can from under the counter and actually took the cigarette from her and extinguished it. They talked about radios for 20 minutes as she struggled with the selection. She flirted, shamelessly, and he warmed to the occasion. After paying for the radio, she left him her phone number. He promised to call. The episode lasted 24 minutes and was captured by a small recorder hidden in her purse. The tape had been played both times while his face had been projected on the wall and studied by the lawyers and their experts. Her written report of the incident was in the files, 6 typed pages of her observations on everything from his shoes, old Nikes, to his breath, cinnamon gum, to his vocabulary, college level, to the way he handled the cigarette. In her opinion, and she was experienced in such matters, he had never smoked. They listened to his pleasant tone and his professional sales pitch and his charming chatter, and they liked him. He was bright, and he didn't hate tobacco. He didn't fit as their model juror, but he was certainly one to watch. The problem with Easter, potential juror number 56, was that they knew so little about him. Evidently he had landed on the Gulf Coast less than a year ago, and they had no idea where he came from. His past was a complete mystery. He rented a one-bedroom, 8 blocks from the Biloxi courthouse. They had photos of the apartment building, and at first worked as a waiter in a casino on the beach. He rose quickly to the rank of blackjack dealer, but quit after 2 months. Shortly after Mississippi legalized gambling, a dozen casinos along the coast sprang forth overnight, and a new wave of prosperity hit hard. Job seekers came from all directions, and so it was safe to assume Nicholas Easter arrived in Biloxi for the same reason as 10,000 others. The only odd thing about his move was that he had registered to vote so quickly. He drove a 1969 Volkswagen Beetle, and a photo of it was flashed on the wall, taking the place of his face. Big deal. He was 27, single, an alleged part-time student, the perfect type to drive such a car. No bumper stickers, nothing to indicate political affiliation or social conscience or favorite team, no college parking sticker, not even a faded dealer decal. The car meant nothing, as far as they were concerned, nothing but near poverty. The man operating the projector and doing most of the talking was Carl Nussman, a lawyer from Chicago who no longer practiced law but instead ran his own jury consulting firm. For a small fortune, Carl Nussman and his firm could pick you the right jury. They gathered the data, took the photos, recorded the voices, sent the blondes in tight jeans into the right situations. Carl and his associates flirted around the edges of laws and ethics, but it was impossible to catch them. After all, there's nothing illegal or unethical about photographing prospective jurors. They had conducted exhaustive telephone surveys in Harrison County 6 months ago, then again 2 months ago, then a month later, to gauge community sentiment about tobacco issues and formulate models of the perfect jurors. They left no photo untaken, no dirt ungathered. They had a file on every prospective juror. Carl pushed his button, and the VW was replaced with a meaningless shot of an apartment building with peeling paint. Home somewhere in there of Nicholas Easter. Then a flick, and back to the face. "And so we have only the 3 photos of number 56, Carl said, with a note of frustration as he turned and glared at the photographer, one of his countless private snoops, who had explained he just couldn't catch the kid without getting caught himself. The photographer sat in a chair against the back wall, facing the long table of lawyers and paralegals and jury experts. The photographer was quite bored and ready to bolt. It was 7 o'clock on a Friday night. Number 56 was on the wall, leaving 140 still to come. The weekend would be awful. He needed a drink. A half-dozen lawyers in rumpled shirts and rolled-up sleeves scribbled never-ending notes and glanced occasionally at the face of Nicholas Easter up there behind Carl. Jury experts of almost every variety, psychiatrist, sociologist, handwriting analyst, law professor, and so on, shuffled papers and thumped the inch-thick computer printouts. They weren't sure what to do with Easter. He was a liar, and he was hiding his past, but still on paper and on the wall he looked okay. Maybe he wasn't lying. Maybe he was a student last year in some low-rent junior college in eastern Arizona, and maybe they were simply missing this. Give the kid a break, the photographer thought, but he kept it to himself. In this room of well-educated and well-paid suits, he was the last one whose opinion would be appreciated. It wasn't his job to say a word. Carl cleared his throat while glancing once more at the photographer, then said, "Number 57. The sweaty face of a young mother flashed on the wall, and at least 2 people in the room managed a chuckle. "Tracy Wilkes," Carl said, as if Tracy was now an old friend. Papers moved slightly around the table. "Age 33, married, mother of 2, doctor's wife, 2 country clubs, 2 health clubs, a whole list of social clubs." Carl clicked off these items from memory while twirling his projector button. Tracy's red face was replaced by a shot of her jogging along a sidewalk, splendidly awash in pink and black spandex and spotless Reeboks, with a white sun visor sitting just above the latest in reflective sports sunglasses, her long hair in a cute, perfect ponytail. She was pushing a jogging carriage with a small baby in it. Tracy lived for sweat. She was tanned and fit, but not exactly as thin as might be expected. She had a few bad habits. Another shot of Tracy in her black Mercedes wagon with kids and dogs.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?